Well, welcome to our winery education webinar. My name is Nicola Pomponio, Director of the Artisanal Collection for Fregenet Mianetto. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us and to log in. We are so excited to be able to virtually travel back to Italy. And today we discover one of the most hidden gems in the Piemonte in the town of Treviso, which is part of the Barbaresco DOCG. Without further ado, I would like to hand over the virtual microphone to Elena Oberto, the Hospitality and Customer Relations Manager at Cantina Pertinace. Ciao, Elena, come stai?
Ciao, I'm good. Thank you. And I hope that everybody are going good and great. So thank you for joining us today for this webinar. I'm glad to welcome you virtually here in the winery. Of course, I hope to see you soon here or whatever, because now we can again meet maybe. So today I want to try to tell you something more about us, about the winery especially, and about a couple of our wines to give you a better idea. As Nick said, I'm the customer relation manager and the hospitality manager here at the winery. Without further ado, I want to be focused on the winery. So Pertinace, let me say, Pertinace Winery is a cooperative that was founded in 1973. We are located in the Langhe area, inside of the Piemonte region. Piemonte region is northwest of Italy and is directly bordering France, so we are very close to France. We are inside of a subzone that is called Langhe. Langhe it also means tongue in our local dialect. We are in Treviso. Treviso is a very small village and is part of the Barbaresco region. As you know, the Barbaresco region has 3 towns and a half, we can say, because there's Treviso, Neve, Barbaresco, and Alba too, but just a small part of Alba that is called San Rocco Senodelvio. As I said, Pertinace Winery was established in 1973 by an idea of Mr. Mario Barbero, who joined 12 other friends and farmers too, because they decided to establish this estate. So they purchased the winery, so they bought another small winery, and they start to produce wines since 1973. At the beginning, we were focused just on Nebbiolo-based wine, so we pressed just Nebbiolo grapes, and also in a very small quantity. Then we also start to produce a bit more other wines, especially Dolcetto and Barbera, because Dolcetto is the everyday wine and Barbera also is a very interesting and a very famous wine from this area. Why Pertinace? Pertinace, why we are named also as Pertinace. The name of the company, to be more precise, is Cantina Vignaioli Elvio Pertinace, that was shortened in 2004 just in Pertinace when we start with our collaboration with Fregenet Mianetto. So it's a very long time that we are glad to work with the Mianetto team. Why Pertinace? Pertinace, I'll show you something just to give you a better idea. He's Pertinace. Let me introduce you to him. He was one of the Roman emperor. You have just to remember that Pertinace was born here in this area, and he became an emperor in the lower part of the Roman Empire. So when the empire was very corrupted, he was an emperor right after Commodo, but unfortunately, he's not so well known for different reasons. The first one, of course, is because he was the emperor only for 87 days. And the reason why was because he was murdered. So he was killed by the Praetorians. Why? Pertinace was the classic kind of self-made man. He was born in a family of ex-slave. He studied as a teacher. And then he said, no, I want more in my life. So I got involved into the military career, starting from the bottom to the top. So from like a simple soldier to be, then he became a general under Marco Aurelio. So he was a man with very strong ideals, a man that has a very, I can say, it was very polite, very good man. And that also one of the reasons why we are named after him, because our farmers are very connected to the land that they are working. They love what they are doing, and they want to be respectful with the land that they are working. And so that's the reason why we are named after him. Today, just to give you a better idea, we are 21. We have 21 farmers, 21 associated in the cooperative, and we run about 110 hectares of land. So the farmers that they are used to growing their own land, their own grapes, and then they collect everything to the winery when it's harvest time, and we produce the wines for the wine for them and for the cooperative. What can I say about to let you know something more? We have a very strong connection, of course, with the land and also with tradition. So definitely, sorry, we are much more traditional producer. We are also sustainable certified. So this is also another way to show you that we really take care of the land we are working with, and also we are producing sustainable wines. Usually we do long maceration. All the wines are aged just in big Slavonian oak cask, multiple sizes. And then, of course, we produce different kinds of wines, like Barbaresco Classico. Of course, the focus then at first is always on Nebbiolo. We produce also 2 single vineyards, Barbaresco Marcarini and Barbaresco Nervo. And then we have also Barolo, then we have Dolcetto, we have Moscato d'Asti, and Langarnese. Today, of course, we will be focused on other 2 wines, and those wines are Barbera d'Alba and then Lange Nebbiolo. So those are the 2 different wines we are presenting today. As you can see on the map that we are showing, this is the area where our wines are coming from. Starting with Barbera. Our Barbera is 100% Barbera grape inside. Let me say that Barbera is a very vigorous varietal, so is a varietal that is used to produce a lot of grapes. The main characteristic for this varietal is the acidity. So when we talk about Barbera, we always talk about acidity and about a very gastronomic wine. This wine is coming from multiple vineyards that our farmers own, especially from Treso, Alba, Neviglie, and Magliano Alfieri. Those are different towns around here. The soil basically is a sandy Sant'Agata marl kind of soil. It's very specific, but it's just a soil rich in clay and sand and some stones. Treso is also the highest town in the Barbaresco region, so gives different kinds of characteristic to the wines. The Barbera, especially, what we are trying to do to control the acidity in the Barbera is to try to pick the grapes when they are very ripe. So in this way, we can try to enjoy a wine with a very rich bouquet and a very, I can say, very round kind of taste. So let me taste a bit, so it could be easy to let you explain something more. In the bouquet, you definitely have a lot of fruitiness, like black fruits, plums, or something like going more like some small black fruits. And you always have a lovely spiciness, some pink pepper and some white pepper too. In the taste, you feel a bit the acidity just at the back of your mouth when you swallow, and the mouth is always full and round. The wine is quite warm and velvety on your palate. As I said before, it's a very gastronomic wine because it goes very well with different kinds of food. Talking about the local food, I can say it's amazing to enjoy with the tajarin, so the homemade fresh noodles, or the clean ravioli, for example, or some kind of meat like the classic Sunday roast. But personally, I always suggest you something different, and I always challenge people to try the Barbera with something more spicy, with a bit more kick, like spicy food or Thai food too. So something completely different than usual. Okay.
Elena, the Thai food, that's something that when I was reading, when we were talking about the wine, and when you mentioned Thai food with this wine, how do you feel I know this is kind of out of the blue, but how do you feel the Thai food and the spiciness and the Barbera come together? Tell us.
I mean, generally, when you enjoy some kinds of Thai food or those kinds of food, there's a lot of taste, and then there's always something more like, I mean, I'm thinking about ginger or something like that gives you and reminds you also to something more peppery, and that's one of the reasons why I think that can come very well together. Also because the roundness of this wine helps to balance your mouth after this kind of food. Personally, I also suggest the Barbera also with something more spicy, like a bit hot sometimes in the mouth, like kind of, let me say, Tex-Mex or Mexican food or something like that, because of that. Because I think that the acidity helps to clean your mouth, especially when you're eating something more fat. And the roundness helps to balance also the mouth, and you can find a balance with the food too. So that's my personal opinion, of course, but I mean, try. I always suggest you to try because it could be very interesting. So that's
wonderful, because that opens up the door to so many different places we can show this wine. We can show this, like you mentioned, in Tex-Mex and Mexican restaurants and Thai restaurants. Anything that has a spicy type of dish. Exactly. Let's move into the Nebbiolo, Elena.
Yes, we do. I just took off this Barbera. So let's move to the Nebbiolo. So Nebbiolo is also 100% Nebbiolo inside, and let me say that could be considered like a kind of Barbaresco little brother. So when we produce Langhe Nebbiolo, we are always trying to express the other side of the Nebbiolo grape, so the side that is more fresh, fruity, and easy drinking. Of course, the bouquet is always very, very rich, a bit fresher than the other Barbarescos. You have a bit more flowers inside. You have some red fruits, of course, but more flower hints like rose hip, for example. A bit of spiciness too, some white pepper maybe. And of course, the main characteristic when we are talking about Nebbiolo is we're always talking about tannins. Tannins are, it's the dry sensation you have around your gums or around your tongue. But in the Langhe Nebbiolo, you have the tannins, but tannins are smoother comparing the tannins you can find in the Barbaresco. Barbaresco always get more structure, more complexity. So this could be a good way also to introduce a Barbaresco to people that doesn't know anything about the Nebbiolo at all, Nebbiolo grape. So this could be the first step to let them explain something more about these kinds of wines. This wine is coming from, of course, multiple vineyards, also from some vineyard like the Marcarini or the Nervo, maybe not the best spots. Is aged in big casks, as I said, Slavonian with big cask, multiple sizes, about 9 to 12 months, to give some more kick in the back. Talking about food, of course, is a wine that could be very nice to enjoy with something more meaty, so some kind of red meat, excellent with grilled or barbecue meat, for example, with some kind of cheese, not too aged, so like medium aged cheese, and also something a bit richer in the taste. So those are my suggestions. I don't know what
these are some of the casks, right, Elena, behind me, some of the
Yes.
sizes of the different casks.
Yes. That's the winery. I mean,
Pertinace.
he's kidding us. He's here. No, I'm joking. I mean, he has the winery just on his back, and those are some of the casks we are using for the aging of those wines. Some of those has to be replaced. So if you have any possibility to come to visit us, please, we will be glad to show you what we are doing and which cask we have. Oh, I love the picture. So
yeah,
now that's the bud break season.
Yeah, let's talk about the bud break. Is there any concern from spring frost? What's going on here?
I mean, not yet. Keeping fingers crossed. We never know because we are under the weather and we cannot control it so far. So, and luckily, so we don't know what could happen in the future. But yeah, now we're starting to have some bud breaks on the vines. So new season is starting. I just point you out about something. If all of you can see the small drop of water just at the beginning of the small branch, when the branch was cutted. This is the sign we are calling tears. So those are the tears. So it's like we say the vines are crying, okay, but in a good way, because this is the sign that the season is starting again. So when it means that the life is on inside of the vine. So this is a good thing. Even if you say it's crying, it's crying of joy. So those are tears of joy and not tears of sadness. So we are very happy. So we hope to have not any kind of frost in the next weeks, because now we have the buds to protect, and we need them for the new season.
What maintenance is done to prepare the vines for the summer?
I mean, there's first of all, we now we are just following what they are doing. We cannot do. I mean, we have just maybe clean the leaves when we have too much leaves on, but it's not now the time. They were preparing the winter time by pruning, so we always cut off the old branch and we tie the new one to start the new season, and those branches are where the bud breaks are on today. And those are these nice guys here.
Yeah, what is Noctua, and how does it help the vines?
I mean, we love bugs. We are sustainable. We want to respect also the bugs and all the bugs around the vineyard. But the problem with the Noctua is that the Noctua is a night bug. So is a kind of worm that is crawling on the vines, and to feed themselves, they are eating the buds. And of course, we are a bit scared about it because they can destroy the buds, and we need them. So it's called Noctua because also we also harvest them during the night, because they just out in the night. So we are used to walk into the vineyards with lights on our heads and jars or something like that, or box or something, and we take the Noctua manually out of the vines, and we put it inside to clean the vineyards, because they can really, I mean, create some problems inside. So we don't want to let them eat the buds. That's very important.
So we have a couple of questions.
Please.
Do you oversee the growers in respect to farming practices and give suggestions or provide advice? How does that work?
I mean, because we have 21 members, I mean, all of them we are certified as sustainable. So it means that they know what they have to do. But of course, we have our winemaker, so the enologo, and we also have our agronomo, that they are used to sometimes just walk into the vineyard to check if everything is going okay, if they need any help, any suggestion during the year. And especially before the harvest, they have to check the ripeness of the grapes, and they are used to tell them, okay, now it's time to start to pick those kinds of grapes instead of others. So they know that there's a bit of kind of rules to, because in this way it could be easier also.
Very good, very good. And then also another question, some producers look to macerate their top wines around 40 days, others less. Where does Pertinace fit here?
I mean, as I said, we are definitely much more traditional. So we are much more traditional. We are producing the wines in a traditional way. So we use just big Slavonian oak casks, and we do longer maceration. Longer, it means up to 40 to 60 days sometimes. We don't know, we cannot say how long, because every vintage is different. So according to the different vintages, we can leave the wine in contact with the skins, maybe up to 40 to 60 days to have more extraction. That's the idea.
Next question. How does Nebbiolo react being planted at, in regards to hillside, the top of the vineyard, the bottom of the vineyard, the center of the vineyard? What is that considered in, when you're producing the wines, that certain fruit from certain parts of the vineyard go into these bottlings? How does that work?
Yeah, this is especially what we are doing with the single vineyard wines. We know that usually the center part of a vineyard is always the best, because there's much more balance. On the top it could be a little bit more fresh, below you can have a bit more humidity. So in the center you can have more consistency. So that's one of the reason why that usually we try to check also in the vineyards to pick the best for the single vineyards, and to take the others maybe for the Langhe Nebbiolo or maybe for the Classico. So that's what we are doing. And you asked me before also about the suggestion for the farmers. Yes, we did suggestions, but they know very well that what they have to do, also because we pay them based on the quality of the grapes. So they know that if they produce high quality grapes, they will be paid more too. So they do their best always.
That's a really great point when you're out selling the wines. Just a quick reminder, we have a special guest once this webinar is completed. So please do not hang up, because we have a special guest we're going to present. But Elena, I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time to join us and give us all your insight on Cantina Pertinace. I'll hand it back to you, Elena.
Thank you. It was my pleasure, and I hope to see all of you. You are a lot today, so thank you. Really, it's a really deep thank you. We hope to welcome you soon in the winery, to show you what we are doing, to show you the vineyards, to show you everything, and also to taste the wines with us, of course.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Elena. Say hello to Cesare for us all.
I will.
We love Pertinace, and thank you for all of your information. We're looking forward to doing another future webinar with you too. So we'll go into some other wines as well.